Hey everyone, Steve here from 11ish, and today I'd like to share with you a personal story about myself. It'll be the first installment of a series of videos where I've created unique, true, short stories based on my past so that you can be entertained, one, and two, get a little bit of insight based on my history and my mistakes. Hopefully you enjoy this because I put a lot of time and effort into this. This is something I've always wanted to do. Without further ado, let's get started. So I'm a first-gen immigrant. My parents came to America first for a few years so that they can pave the road for the rest of us. I was left with my grandparents so that I can continue my education without the additional stress that will be put on me and my parents if I came with them at the same time. When I was 9.5, they created enough stability to ship me over here, and that's where all of this additional transition in my life began. My parents are overachievers. Of course they are, right? They spend a lot of time paving the road and creating opportunities for us. And what's really amazing is that they have the entrepreneurial spirit to power through, forget about the short-term suffering, aim for that long-term goal, whatever means necessary, and work their butt off so that we actually went through several tiers of economic mobility. The easiest way to quantifiably describe what they've achieved is that they went from a $200 net worth, making $30 a month, to today where they run their own primary care clinic. Ironically, through this entire process, I actually never felt poor. When I was growing up in China, looking back, it was essentially in the state of a third world country. But at that time, it was what it was. When I came to America, the most exciting luxury to me, if you can believe it, was having carpet. I was rolling around in every carpet I saw because there was no such thing where I grew up in China. But now I felt like I stepped up. I was in a new environment. We moved on towards better. And through this experience, every year we get a little more. But we never forgot the principle of frugality. My friends, regardless whether it was in China or here, they always had more shit than me, right? But the thing is, my parents always told me not that we couldn't afford it, but that it was a waste of money to get it. That is one of the fundamental principles that was instilled in me. Short-term discomfort or short-term, missing out is irrelevant to the bigger picture as long as you truly, truly believe in what that bigger picture is. There is no room to waste surplus. Everything matters for the bigger goal. You think that is the key takeaway here, but in my opinion, what's much more important is the idea that comfort is whatever your mind decides comfort is. It's all in your head. Unless you're already rich and have a ton of connections, opportunities are not going to be centralized to where you are. That's just a ridiculous concept. You have to make sacrifices to get to opportunities, to make things happen. Whether it's relocating or working longer hours or whatever the sacrifice may be, less pay. All of these things are a temporary short-term discomfort that you have to take into consideration if it fits within the bigger context of your ultimate goal. So what that means to me is that all the way to high school, I moved around a lot. In turn, that means that I had fewer friends, I slept on the couch a lot, and that means I didn't have much money. But that is not a complaint. That's just what it was. My parents explicitly told me, like a grown-up, that we are going through transitions, that nothing should be wasted, and that everything has an end goal, and that is to be somebody and have things that matter. Everything that I wanted as a kid, those are temporary gratifications. That was drilled into my head, and I look at that as an irritation as a child, but now it makes sense. So I never truly thought about these ideas until very recently because I just thought that's how I operated. But these experiences have created a very different mindset than regular millennials because I'm technically a millennial. It means that I'm able to spend longer periods of time isolated. So if I truly want to achieve something, whether it's a hobby or something more serious, if I truly believe that I want it, I'm okay with the discomfort in between because to me it's irrelevant, it's temporary. The pain or the happiness that you get for the, the brief 10 seconds or 20 seconds or even 3 days that you get from a short-term enjoyment, it's going to go away. But the long-term things that you're aiming for, whether it's a skill set or a life goal, those things last forever. If they don't, then you've set the wrong goals. This has taught me better bankroll management and also better time management. In turn, it has helped me reach my longer-term goals much faster. The ability to visualize the end of the tunnel when everything is pitch black is an incredible skill set that everyone should train for. Truly believing in yourself and also setting short-term milestones and goals so that you can feel your way towards the right direction and keeping yourself motivated. Those are skill sets that everyone needs as an entrepreneur. As far as I can tell, I was kind of a weird kid back then. I spent a lot of my time hanging out at Borders, reading self-help books, existentialism and financial growth. The thing with existentialism is that no book actually gives you an answer. So I gave up on that shit. Once I got the general gist of it, I moved away and moved completely into self-help on how to make more money. Because to me, what is most important is an answer my dad provided me about life when I was very, very young. And that is, everyone's gonna die, and therefore, the only way to live on forever is to be somebody important. People should remember you for something you've done that matters. And the more importance in your benefit to society, the more important you become once you're dead. Everything I do revolves around this idea. In order for me to be important and be beneficial for society, whatever I want to do with my life, it needs to be exceptional. And in order for me to be exceptional at it, in this case entrepreneurship, I need more money. By the time I was in high school, my mom was redoing med school because apparently Chinese med school is not good enough for the US, and my dad was an engineer. They already went through so much hardship in their life that my mom specifically was fervent in not letting me do manual labor because she was adamant that she doesn't want me to go through what they went through. The funny thing about Asian kids is that they either come out super obedient and does everything their parents tell them to do, or they are the most rebellious creatures on earth. Unfortunately, I was the latter, but I also had common sense. So I waited till I was 18 before I started looking for a job. Because as far as I'm concerned, if manual labor was good enough for my parents, it's good enough for me. And I truly believe that nothing should be beneath anybody. Everything should be looked at as an experience of whether it's worth your time or not. And I believe that if I want to be an entrepreneur, I have to fully understand the entire stack of what it means. So I put myself out there, and with the help of my friend, I got a gig at an AM/PM nearby. And one of the books that revolutionized my life is Rich Dad Poor Dad. So based on those ideas, I try to save money as quickly as possible without spending a single dime, except every once in a while I felt like I needed to motivate myself a little bit further, so I would buy myself a Big Mac, but that's it, right? And it took me about half a year to make $1,000 on minimum wage. So that at that point, as far as I was concerned, I'm ready to invest. With that $1,000, I started asking the owner of the AM/PM. I started doing even more research, trying to figure out what can I do with $1,000. We're gonna talk about what I did with my $1,000 in the next video. I hope you found this video entertaining and insightful. If you are interested in more content like this, please hit the subscribe button so that you can get the next video. Thanks for listening, and I look forward to sharing my story with you next time. Thank you.